If you're fortunate enough to be in the position of evaluating multiple lateral offers simultaneously, you have a good problem, but it's still a problem because the decision you're about to make, which firm to join, is one of the most consequential professional decisions of your career. And most attorneys, when faced with this choice, struggle to evaluate the offers in a structured, rational way. They get caught up in the emotional reactions. They overweight the most recent conversation. They focus on the headline compensation and underweight everything else. Or they get paralyzed by analysis, unable to choose because every option has trade-offs. So sometimes people decide doing nothing is the best course of action. I'm Andrew Wilcox, legal recruiter since 2003. Today, I want to give you a framework for comparing multiple lateral offers using objective criteria, a method that helps you think clearly, weigh the factors that actually matter, and make a decision that you can be confident in. So the first step is writing down the criteria that matters to you, going back to your business plan, aligning that with what your goals are and your requirements that you need of a firm. Some baseline stuff there. Before you try to compare the offers, though, you need to be clear about what you're optimizing for. And that requires making a list, an actual list, written list of the factors that will affect your success and satisfaction at a firm. So let's go through some categories of that you should include. Let's start with compensation. Not just the headline number, but the structure. Guaranteed versus performance-based. The duration of any guarantee. The firm's typical compensation model for partners at your level. Also, the potential upside. And the floor, if it doesn't all work out according to plan. Think about the platform and the client base. Does the firm have the capabilities and relationships that will let you grow your practice? Does it have gaps that will create friction? Is the platform a multiplier for your business development, or is it just neutral? The strength of the practice group. How strong is the practice group you're joining? Is it growing or is it contracting? Are the other partners people you respect and want to be affiliated with? And then getting into some of the things about culture and quality of life. What's the day-to-day experience going to be like? What are the billing expectations? How collegial is it? Are there internal politics that you figured out? Work-life balance. These things matter enormously over time, even commutes to and from an office, how much time you have to spend in traffic. The geographic fit. If the role requires relocation or if the firm has offices in multiple cities and you'll be expected to travel, well, how does that fit with your personal life and preferences? How stable is the firm? And is it the trajectory of it, is it going in the right direction? Is the firm financially healthy? Is it growing or consolidating? Is the leadership credible? What's the risk that the firm's situation changes materially in the next 5 years? And then getting into some of the reputation and the market position there. How does a firm's brand affect your ability to attract clients, to win business, to be taken seriously in your market? So write all these categories down. Then, for each offer, go through the list and just evaluate. That offer performs on each dimension. Use a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 and actually just score them. This exercise forces you to be systematic rather than reactive. The second step is weight the factors based on your priorities. Not all factors are equally important. Compensation matters, but for some attorneys, it matters more than anything else. For others, culture or platform or geographic fit is the dominant consideration. Be honest about your priorities. If compensation is your top priority, weigh it accordingly. If you care more about being part of a practice group that's genuinely excellent, weigh that dimension heavily. One of the things I always advise attorneys is if you're making a move for money, and if it's all about more money, you'll simply never have enough of it. And that sounds simple, but I say that because you're going to want to weigh compensation relative to what you need and what you need over the next few years and how it's going to help you grow your practice. So, with all that said, the point is not to create, though, a perfect algorithm with all this. The point's to make your decision making process transparent to yourself so you can see what's actually driving your inclinations. We're not going to just consider the current state, but we're going to consider the trajectory, where it's going. When you're comparing offers, it's easy to focus entirely on what's in front of you today: the current compensation package, the current client base, the current state of the practice group. But a lateral move is a multi-year decision. What matters is not just where each firm is now, but where each firm is going and where you'll be in 3 to 5 years if you make this move. So ask yourself, which of these firms is more likely to be growing in my practice area 5 years from now? Which is investing in building the capabilities I'll need as my practice evolves? Which is a leadership team I trust to make good strategic decisions over time? Trajectory matters more than a snapshot. And then the fourth, run the downside scenario. For each offer, imagine the realistic downside. What happens if your book doesn't transition as smoothly as you expect? What happens if the practice group loses a key partner? What happens if the firm's compensation model changes in a way that's unfavorable to you? Some offers have better downside protection than others: higher guaranteed compensation, stronger institutional client bases that create a safety net, more stable firm economics. If you're risk averse, weight the downside scenario heavily. If you're comfortable with risk, focus more on the upside. Now, the fifth step: talk to people you trust, but be selective. Get outside perspective, but choose your advisors carefully. Talk to people who know you well, who understand your priorities, and who have no stake in your decision. Don't poll a dozen people. You'll get a dozen of different opinions and end up more confused than you started. Pick 2 or 3 whose judgment you deeply respect. Walk them through the offers in your analysis and listen to what they have to say. And then critically, make the decision yourself. External input is valuable, but ultimately, you're the one who has to live with the choice. The factors that often get overweighted and shouldn't: proximity to a single decision maker. People move all the time. Some hiring attorneys get very focused on their relationship with the hiring partner or the practice group leader and make a decision based largely on that relationship. But like I said, people leave, people retire, leadership changes. The relationship that's central today may be gone in 3 years or even 3 months. Evaluate the institution, not just the individual. The most recent conversation, recency bias, is real. The firm you talk to the most recently often feels most compelling simply because it's fresh in your mind. Don't let timing drive the decision. The headline compensation number: a higher guarantee is appealing, but if the longer term compensation model is weak or the platform doesn't support your growth, the guarantee ends and you're in a worse position than you would have been at a firm with a lower initial number but better long term structure. Then the factors that often get underweighted and should matter more: the cultural fit. Attorneys often treat culture as a soft factor and underweight it relative to economics and platform. But culture affects everything: your ability to build relationships, your day to day satisfaction, your willingness to stay long term. A bad cultural fit will make every other dimension of the job harder. Stability and financial health. Firm stability feels abstract until it isn't. If you move to a firm that's financially stressed or poorly managed, the downstream effects on your compensation, your client relationships, and your career are severe. Do the diligence on firm stability, even when the offer looks attractive. And then the decision point. At some point, you've done the analysis. You've weighed the factors. You've talked to the people whose opinions matter. And now you just need to decide. Make the decision with confidence, not certainty. You'll never have perfect information, but confidence that you've thought it through as carefully as you can, that you've been honest with yourself about your priorities, and that you're making a choice that's right for you. Then move forward without second guessing. The decision you make is the right one because you made it thoughtfully. Trust that. I'm Andrew Wilcox. This has been the Lateral Lawyer Brief. If you'd like to have a confidential discussion about your career goals, please email me at andrew@wilcox-legal.com. And as always, grateful, Andrew Wilcox.